Hello and welcome to What Are You Saying? Hashtag Ways, where we talk about topics in the news as it affects us all. I am Osa, you are Mesale, obviously not Chivido. I have Uti Elu with me live in studio. Hi, Uti.
The only person that officially did not go to Chivido.
Right?
Everybody else went to Chivido. It's like it's only you and I
It's only you and I,
that are not at Chivido.
Unfortunately, because of Chivido now.
You're either in Chivido or you are in traffic.
Is either you're in Chivido or you're in
right
traffic?
now. You're at Chivido or you're in traffic or you're here. That's it.
Or you're trekking somewhere on Lekki Ekpe Expressway.
No, that is part of traffic.
That's part of the traffic, right? You know, there's traffic of sitting inside your car. And there's traffic of trekking.
All traffic.
It's not funny.
But today has been unexplainable, right? I thought I was actually not that far from the studio. So, you know, when you get into the work, you're just working, the work was flowing. And I'd given myself, okay, a time frame. My car, they were changing the brakes on my car. So I was like, okay, I'll just, and then my friend called me and she said, "Where are you? Have you left? There's traffic. Where is your son?" I'm like, what's going on? She says, "It just took my sister from Ajah to Chevron, 2 hours. From Chevron to Jakande, 1 hour, 20 minutes. I was like, gosh. I said, "Good, mommy. I just told her, I'll call you back. I called the school bus. Where are you?" I had to get them to drop him at Ake's house because there was just no way. Yesterday, he got home at 8 o'clock. So I couldn't very well say, I just said, I'll drop him there. At least if I pick him, I'll make sure that I'm comfortable that he's okay. So right now he's in Ake's house. We will traverse it together later.
My God.
But it's been something else today. Even just to get here, what should have been nothing more than a 10-minute drive, took us almost an hour.
That's crazy.
And I don't still know what happened. They said there's water on the road. I don't know what it is.
So it's actually a combination of a lot of things. There's Chivido 2024. There's rain. And the rain started very early this morning, right?
It's been raining.
It's been raining.
Today,
yeah. So it's been raining. So the rain, drainages are blocked. And of course, once people start to see that, there's also the madness of the people in the Lagos themselves. But another person that Chivido happened to, Mercy has joined us via Zoom. She couldn't make it down to the studio. Hi, Mercy. Mercy, are you there?
Uti, if you can hear me. Yes, good evening, Uti. Good evening, Uwa. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Pele.
Just tell us you wanted to go for Chivido. I mean, I don't know why you are just tell us the truth.
No, Uti, the truth is, this usually happens. Unfortunately, Chivido is happening right now, and it looks as though that might be the case. But the actual issue is, Lagos is flooded.
Yeah.
Whenever it rains, it is a huge issue, and the roads are horrible. So the drama is huge, honestly. You don't even want to know what's going on. Right? And that's the problem. So everybody's stopped. You can't move. And that's because we have drainages. I think we're not even talking about this issue. It is really, really sad because a lot of manpower is wasted out there. People are stressed. People are not safe. I mean, there's a lot of, you can't even explain, how many hours it would take you to get to a certain location. So it's quite unfortunate. The drainages are actually blocked because we have built structures on, erected structures on water channels. We also have the habit of dumping or tossing things in the gutters. And all of that is causing the flooding that we're experiencing, especially now that we've been having the rains, cat and dogs in Lagos. So, I mean, it's a lot that's going on. Unfortunately, I got dressed, I came out, but I just looked at the calculation. There's no way I'm going to meet it. I'm going to be, halfway, and then the show would have ended.
I mean, this was the video that our makeup artist Chinelo had sent in, right? Where she shared that she's been trekking. In fact, when she eventually got to the bus stop, she said there was no bus or anything to even bring her down. It's an unfortunate situation. I really hope, and today is supposed to be the governor's birthday, right? I hope he gives us birthday gift because the rains haven't even started.
Absolutely.
It hasn't even started and we're already seeing this. I saw a video that a very dark man did. He said, this is your Lekki Peninsula. See the water everywhere. Like Lekki Phase 1 gate is flooded. So, and these are places that you spend millions on. In fact, I want to have a real estate guest on Friday because we need to discuss this matter because I don't understand the rationale and the justification for the kind of prices they call for properties in this country because I don't, especially in this Lagos, I don't get it. what factors do you consider to then put a cost to a housing? It's a lot of things.
Supply and demand.
It cannot just be supply. I have to live in a comfortable place.
Exactly.
Not beside I go carry canoe come up in front of my house.
So supply and demand, and so the thing that even gets me so much is not even about the cost, because shout as you may, there are people buying these properties, right? I was having a conversation, I think I mentioned this on the show as well a few weeks ago. Someone is building on 500 square meters and intends to sell the house for 4.5 billion. I didn't say million, 4.5 billion. But somebody will buy it. You're not sinking in your money to build that kind of property if you don't know that somebody will buy it. So at the end of the day, I mean, if you know any real estate agents, just check their WhatsApp status, at least in Lagos, particularly the ones that are selling on the island. You are seeing 600 million, you're seeing 1 billion, you're seeing 2 billion, you're seeing 4.5 billion. I think to yourself, what exactly is it that I am not doing? Because I'm going to have to rob a few banks just to be able to afford that kind of money. But it's literally supply and demand. And for me, it happens when we also don't have enough housing in Lagos, right? Everybody wants to move to Lekki. So, of course, it's supply and demand. If I tell you I want 100 million and somebody else is willing to offer me 120 million, what's going to happen? Don't you even see the prices? Don't you see the ads where somebody tells you your ROI is going to go up by 200% in 6 months? I mean, that is part of the problem.
It is well. Okay, so in case you're yet to subscribe to our YouTube channel, it's at Official Upgrade TV. Click the subscribe button, like, share, and invite your families and friends, right, to also subscribe and watch the show. So it's our ladies' night out, as you can already tell. We're already ranting. And we are discussing shattering the glass ceiling, how women should rise to the top. And here's what we found as today's quote. It says, life is about finding yourself, embracing your strengths and weaknesses, and being true to who you are. This was from Oprah Winfrey. So when we open our phone lines, we really love to hear your thoughts and what you have to say about this particular topic about shattering the glass ceiling, especially when we play the video that we found on the internet. But first, let's quickly run off. When we come back from that break, we want to see what we found in today's news. International Day of the Seafarer. Is it fairer or farer?
Fair.
Fairer. I was trying to run away from mispronouncing it. So June 25th is recognized as the Day of the Seafarer, an international day established by the International Marine Organization. This day celebrates the vital role that seafarers play in global trade and the world economy, acknowledging their hard work, dedication, and the challenges they face in their profession. The day of the seafarer also aims to raise awareness about the issues affecting seafarers, promoting better working conditions, and the importance of maritime safety. The theme for this year day is called, I think this year's day of seafarer is safety. The theme is safety. So
it has to be now.
Who you know where we seafarer?
So I don't know any seafarers, although I know a few people that work with vessels. But I think I'm not surprised that the theme for today's edition is safety, because right now with the war in the Middle East, or let me say the Israel-Hamas altercations, the resulting issues that have happened there with ships also being attacked at sea, looking at the flags of the vessels attacking different vessels. I think that as a country, we are so dependent on seafarers because we import everything. So if ever there's a day we should be conscious of, this is one of them, because is it fuel? Is it food? I mean, you name it. We import any and everything. So they're a crucial set of people that are going through a tough time at the moment. I mean, the cost of shipping has tripled because they're now having to take longer routes to get past and around the conflict areas.
War zones.
So, wishing all the seafarers the very best.
Safety.
Plus the ones in commercial, plus the ones in the military.
Absolutely,
all seafarers, happy Seafarers Day.
Happy Seafarers Day. So, Messi, what did you find for us in today's news?
Okay, so quickly, it's not something interesting away from Chifido. I'm very careful not to say Chifita. Okay, but by the way, congratulations to Davido and Choma on their wedding and all of that. What I found in the news today, it looks as though it's a similar situation with Nigeria, but different different thing that's playing out. So a session of Kenyans actually today, being June the 25th, took to the streets and the city towns, about 24 different locations. I mean, you need to see the number of persons that took to the street to protest against the finance bill that they have of 2024. So a bit into what the finance bill is about. The finance bill was introduced, and the bill proposes to increase taxes and levies. This includes a 1.5% digital tax on local platforms that offer services such as online jobs, rentals, food delivery. That's the riding hailing apps, of course, housing tax, and also a value-added tax on electric bikes, buses, and solar, amongst others. So basically, this finance bill is bent on increasing, the taxation. So the core of the protest, the reason why Kenyans took to the street is to protest against the Kenyan government's plan to raise revenue, because the Kenyan government is saying we want to raise revenue through additional taxes, and that's the same thing that's going on right now in Nigeria. Where you have the incumbent government thinking that the way to generate revenue, is to tax the people. And so the question is, do you tax the poor? How are the people faring? Should we not tax prosperity? Should we be taxing poverty? So the protesters actually went to, the government went to different places. They are protesting that government should abandon the planned high taxes, which they argue could choke the economy and increase the cost of living for Kenyans who are already struggling to make ends meet. I mean, that sounds like a similar situation that we're dealing with in Nigeria. But while I was still following the story, because it was quite interesting to see the number of people. For me, my interest is how the people took out. You need to look, just look at that. The number of persons that took out to the street to protest. It became very violent. According to a report, 10 persons lost their lives, and a couple of other persons got injured. But the unfortunate incident is that despite all of the protests, the wide protests across the country, the Kenyan Finance Bill of 2022 scaled through second reading, which was supposed to happen today after being passed. It passed a vote of 204 to 115 in the parliament. And this is why I drag you now. Sure, you see why, what they call them. Labour will say, we will down to, because these people don't listen.
This is what I'm saying to you. So you guys I don't support protest. It does not work. But you know what? Don't let us start this argument, because we will not finish it. The time will be exhausted. Did the bill not go through second reading with all this drama that
it went through?
10 people died, and the bill still went through second reading. This is what we're saying, right? Like, I think there's this fundamental problem with African leaders. They really don't just care about human lives, because 10 people died and the bill still passed. So what are we saying? So we have to also find a more strategic way to engage leaders in Africa, because you can clearly see that protests don't really work on them. Downing tools don't really work on them. Even when people lose their lives, it doesn't really work on them.
I don't necessarily think that it is an African thing.
It's an African thing.
Protests by its very nature, yes, they're not often successful, and they happen over a period of time before they galvanize change. So it's not the one-off that you do the day the bill is going to be read that is going to change things. And this is where that sort of activity that you're talking about is important. It's not, oh, we protested today, they did it here, and then we stopped. Or we did, if we do our research and see where true change has come from, it's not by inconsistency. It's not by we're just angry, destroy and move on. It really doesn't, it's not successful.
Absolutely. What's your story quickly?
I keep taking this story because when we are looking for silver bullets, it's important that we are clear. My headline reads, Dangote Refinery operators seek FG intervention as marketers opt for fuel import. Now, the refinery is coming Fuel will be cheaper. Lives will change. The marketers are the devil. Here we are. First of all, said the IOCs, the international oil companies, were refusing to sell him petrol.
Crude.
Now the marketers are preferring to buy imports. They're preferring to buy imported fuel. I'm just saying it, I'm emphasizing so that our listeners can understand that your marketers are preferring to buy imported fuel. Why? Because it is cheaper. The day we were having this conversation here, and I said, I want to know what the cost of operations are. I want to know what the margins are.
No, but even the imports, can we know the exact landing cost? We don't have clarity on anything.
Even at the landing cost today is still significantly higher than what you're paying at the pump. Let's be clear. By at least 40%. But here is the thing. This is one of the biggest businessmen. Is the richest businessman in Africa? I'm not sure now, right?
Yes.
We've talked about the success of Dangote at business. And then the things that I'm seeing now is like business 101. What feasibility studies were done? What policies were you pushing?
Did you even
This
check?
was supposed to be the transformation of the nation, perhaps even the continent. And then you are telling me that having built the factory, raw material is now a problem. Wow, wow, wow.
You say, wow. I said, this in our business. We have to actually analyze it. But you see, I feel like this is my personal opinion, I feel like there are political power play going on with this refiner, because really, in all honesty, right, he has no business begging for crude. He has no business demanding that he should be supplied crude. So there has to be something, you know.
I even just want to stick to what they have told us. I hear you, but let's even stick to the facts. I'm struggling, right? I'm really, really struggling. But I also hear that the national president of IPMAN is said in the story, Abubakar Maingadi, stated that while reacting to claims by the refinery that it has sold 3.5 billion liters of refined product to Europe and other countries because some marketers were importing dirty fuel. I mean, if the cost of production here, and this again goes to the ease of doing business, if Dangote is struggling and he's saying that if he knew then what he knows now, he never would have gone into this thing. All the entrepreneurs out there,
all those business schools that you are paying money
I salute you, because I mean, this is just
but really,
a lot.
Entrepreneurship in Nigeria, I had a long conversation today with someone. I said, doing business in this country, forget about it.
It's an extreme.
My story, I think I had two, but let me just take one for because of the timing thing. Bolanle or Olukomi, if you know Bolanle, she's an on-air personality. I saw her story rather strange.
Okay.
So according to her story, she said, I want you guys to know that the Nigerian passport has really been bastardized. She said, my father, a whole retired ambassador who lived and served in Austria for 3 years, he applied for a Schengen visa alongside my mom, and the Austrian embassy denied their visas. Do you realize the lack of diplomacy and courtesy and disregard for a country you have to deny a former foreign service officer a visa? A foreign service officer who served for 30 years.
Clickbait.
And has been to over 30 countries.
Clickbait.
They think he wants to jackpot to Austria.
Clickbait.
I'm so insulted, Lord.
Clickbait.
No, it's not
clickbait. I'm sorry, I used to work. This one is my field. So I'm sorry, that's clickbait. First and foremost, why was he denied? I mean, I don't like when people just try to sensationalize things because it's Nigeria. No. The truth of it is, visas can be denied for a myriad of reasons. Now, let us not forget. Yes, there is profiling. I don't doubt that. But Nigerians are jackpying by the droves, so it's not by passports. So the truth is, she needs to come out and tell us what the reasons were given. Either you went and applied for a visa thinking that because you were ex-diplomat, whatever, you didn't need to provide evidence, you didn't need to put a strong application, and you were denied. Clickbait. Come out and tell us details if you want to put this story out there. Don't bash my country's passport. I will not take this one. Moving on.
On that note, let us go on a break. We want to shatter the glass ceiling. Stay with us. I like this energy. We'll be right back. Nigeria, by extension, Africa, is faced with a lot of challenges.
With the growing youth population and very little engagement.
That is a ticking time bomb.
We're blessed people with a diverse culture who have a lot to say.
And yes, we are talking.
It is important we drive conversations that informs, inspires, and influences thoughts and actions.
If we say there is beauty in diversity, then let us embrace our diverse culture.
We must continue to courageously be the voice of transformation.
As we are the hope for the future,
yesterday's conversation shaped today.
What are you saying to shape your tomorrow?
We know you have a lot to say, and we are here to hear you.
Good girls never get the corner office. Mr. Speaker, this is in response to what you are telling me earlier in the morning when you are urging me to be a good example to the girls, the younger ones who are doing their first term. Mr. Speaker, if they are good girls, they'll never get corner office. Be as bad as Millie Odhiambo, you will be the mother of this house. I am a bad girl, and as a bad girl, I'm here serving my 4th term. So do not be cheated like the African culture where you are told have decorum, dress nicely, be kind, be nice. I'm telling you, you will go nowhere. Be a bad girl like me and you'll get somewhere.
Be a bad girl like me and you get nowhere. I love this video. Thanks for staying with us. Now, we want to delve into the topic that has, of course, this video sparked a lot of significant debate and questions that prompted, that now brought us to this conversation that we're having around glass ceiling. As you already know, she was the lady in the video. Yes, the mama of the house, Millie Odhiambo. Mabona, she's a member of the National Assembly in Kenya, and she talked about how good girls don't get, positions, and they don't get offices, they don't get the lucrative, positions within the house, right? On this premise, that's what we're asking about shattering glass ceiling, and we're asking how should women rise, to the top. Now, remember, you can join this conversation. Send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 081-803-84663. You can also call our phone line 07025007749. Oma, Uti, are you a good girl or you are a bad girl? I love the video.
So, I love the point that she's trying to make. On a very serious note, I mean, I only saw this video literally maybe an hour before the show. I understand, it's a very short clip, right? But I understand what she's trying to say, a bit from personal experience, right? If you have met me, I am tall. I've always been tall. Depending on where you met me, I'm big or small. I'm very, very outspoken. Some people say I'm very, very smart.
No, we know. We're proud of you.
So, I have lived my entire life having people be intimidated by me, having people, in fact, when I was younger, not so confident, having people make me feel like those qualities that I now are priceless and invaluable to me were a problem. So the impression that being outspoken, particularly, again, being abroad, where the minute you start to talk, and the bass in your voice comes out, you start hearing things like you're aggressive, you're making people uncomfortable, all of those things. It was a problem for a long time, right? And this was across board, both men and women, right? So I understand what she's referencing. I don't know that I would call myself a bad girl, but I think that I would say that I'm in my element. I understand my strength, I understand my value, I understand my weaknesses, but I know who I am. But a lot of women struggle, and I mean, the first thing you think about when you talk about career women, when you talk about successful women, you start to hear things like imposter syndrome. A woman is 99% ready. She's not going to go for it, but a man who is 60% ready will go for it. Or he will do something and he'll be healing himself, and the woman will be beating herself up on that one thing that she did. When he talked about decorum and dressing, it's the same thing, right? It's like, oh, how do you sound? There's a focus on the tone of how you sound as opposed to what you're saying, right? You have those problems. There is a focus on, there's a lady, what's her name now? She used to be a journalist, Tamsden. She's popular. She had a video that went viral at one point where she said she was 57 and she chose not to have kids.
Yeah, I saw that
That
video.
lady, right? She does these videos on her social media where she says things nobody ever asks my husband. Like, oh, where are your kids right now? Or, oh, you did that so well. Like, these are questions that women just have to deal with that nobody ever asks a man, right? But because the world has changed from where first women were not in the workplace, then women had equal opportunities. I mean, we're still fighting today from equality to equity to everything in between. We are still fighting. But at one point, we didn't have a voice. At one point, we were not seen. At one point, we didn't have a seat at the table. We've come a very long way from the suffragette movements and all of that. You know, today we take voting for granted. We take having jobs. We take, even now, we've gotten to a point where, you know, look at the number of women that are CEOs in Nigerian banks and financial institutions today. It's fantastic to see. But are we there yet? No. Because there are a great many girls who haven't found their voices. There are great many women who are struggling with doubt because there are people that still make snide comments. These things that we're saying, there are people today that are still saying them. Look at what she's wearing. Look at how she's behaving. All of those things.
You're a woman. You're a woman. There's some things, so you shouldn't be over ambitious.
Yes.
You know, you can have an ambition, but let it be. You know.
So there is a lot. So I understand what she's trying to say. I mean, she's always been outspoken,
very vocal woman, almost.
Right? But one of the things, and probably where I will stop now, is I think the thing that is most important. I am not a fan of affirmative action. I believe that if you're going to get at a seat at the table, you earn it. So for me, I see her as someone who has earned where she is. She's earned the right to say, you know what, that's her.
I'm a bad girl.
I'm a bad girl. Come for me. And if you come for me, you collect. You do anyhow, you do anyhow.
You see anyhow.
So she's gotten herself to that point. But you can really only do that with your shoulders up when you know you come correct.
And when you know your onions, yes.
That's what I mean. When you come correct, that you come correct. When you know that toe to toe, I will come out. Right? So the substance is not about the window dressing anymore. It's not about how beautiful you are. It's not about how well put together you are. It's that when you arrive, when people be like, wow, she's so beautiful. Then when she starts speaking, like, oh, hang on. That's where I'm happy that we're at now. There are a lot of amazing, strong, brilliant. You know, when I saw this woman, the first person I thought about was a former DG of SEC, Aroma Ote. I remember when she was going through all those Senate hearings and she was giving them back to back. She was answering. That's a woman that knows her onions, and it is amazing to see in their element.
Absolutely. Let me come to you, Mercy of Life. Are you a good gal or a bad gal?
Yes. Okay, so I think that I also agree with... I hope it allows us to have a smooth conversation. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Go ahead.
All right. So in the context, I totally align and agree with Uti. I think that in the context that she's defining being a bad girl is the fact she's very, very vocal issues. That's it. I think I have also been fortunate to see some of her videos. I find them very hilarious and at the same time, but they're making sense. There was one where she was talking about the fact that, hey, you see me, you can't educate me because I graduated from Oxford, I'm a lawyer, and this is literally nothing you're going to do. And then she was just going on and reeling it all out there. So, but to the stereotype, that's been held across, different strata or different spaces where women are not expected to express themselves, where, as a woman, there are certain limitations and all of that. That's the context where she's talking about being girl. So yes.
Oh, wow. Messi, we're having
you
trouble.
About you having your voice or being, knowing points or being very vocal. Is that what makes you a bad girl? But I think that in that context, I can't categorically say, but I understand where she's coming from. And
so, I think we're having trouble hearing Messi. But for me, in all honesty, you see this moral compass that people are bringing. Don't bring it near me anymore. Someone sat me down and he kind of like explained, and it was Olakunle Shoriyan. He said, see, when you dissect the word in itself, because again, these are the things that they throw at women all the time, morality, and all those things. By the time as a woman, you are constantly, right, being scrutinized through those lenses, right? It would be almost impossible for you not to fall short in certain ways. So I would be like Milio Diambo. I would be the bad girl. It doesn't, no, because again, and I like your definition of the bad girl. Like, know your stuff, right? When I see, and this is what I say all the time, right? I will not support you just because you're a woman, right? Because you see, it is the idea that women, it is okay for you to deliver below standard and will just support you because you're a woman. No. The woman clearly knows that, Oga, when it comes to the issues around this house, you cannot touch me. That's why she gave herself title. She says she's the mommy of the house. So, I would like us to touch on certain character traits, certain kind of qualities, right, that then puts you in that position where you are able to break this, glass ceiling, like shatter them and truly rise as a woman, especially because you're already somewhat at a special position. Let me not call it disadvantaged position, but you already know you're there. So what are the things that women should then do extra? Because you said something, 99% ready, but they will never step out. But a man can be 40, you even said 60. The man can be 20% ready. And the man will go for that kill. And with women, it's no, we want everything 100%.
Yeah.
So what are the kinds of things we need to look out for? We'll do that, but let's take a break. We'll be right back.
Nigeria, by extension, Africa, is faced with a lot of challenges.
With the growing youth population and very little engagement.
That is a ticking time bomb.
We're blessed people with a diverse culture who have a lot to say.
And yes, we are talking.
It is important we drive conversations that informs, inspires, and influences thoughts and actions.
If we say there is beauty in diversity, then let us embrace our diverse culture.
We must continue to courageously be the voice of transformation.
As we are the hope for the future, yesterday's conversation shaped today.
What are you saying to shape your tomorrow?
We know you have a lot to say, and we are here to hear you.
All right, thanks for staying with us. Now, if you just tuned in, you can see we're having a lot of fun with this good gal, bad gal. We're having a conversation around shattering the glass ceiling. We're asking, how should women rise to the top. Now, please let's hear what you have to say. Remember, you can join this conversation. Send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 081-803-4663. You can also call our line. It's 0702500749. That's the number to call. So, Uti, I don't know if Messi is back, but let me come to you. Right? So, if I mean, you've mentioned a few about coming correct, you know, but let's break down what come correct means, right? Because, again, as I'd mentioned earlier, they say that, you know, yes, dream, but don't dream too much. Have aspirations, but don't, you know, they kind of like want to cap where a woman,
possibilities.
You understand the possibilities for a woman. So if we say, right, come correct, and you want to be in that position where, you know, you are actually, you know, thriving as a woman, what are the character traits? What are the qualities that we should begin to be intentional? So, I mean, nobody is born with a perfect thing. You can actually build everything, right? What are the qualities that you should begin to be intentional about building within yourself as a woman?
So I think for me, first and foremost is the spirit of excellence. So when I say come correct, right? In Millie's case, she's a lawyer, she's a politician, but it'll be different for other people. You are not what you do, you are who you are, right? So having the right values then means that you can strive for excellence. Excellence is a standard, right? So excellence is your standard, but it's at anything that you're doing. So if you are a housewife, be the most excellent housewife. If you are selling a petty trader on the road, be the most excellent petty trader. I remember the video that trended of the guy that was selling water, right? Whatever you're doing, be excellent. Now, that is what you do. As a value, excellence should be one of your values, so that it doesn't matter whether you're a lawyer, you're a doctor, everything, you will always rise to the top. Now, the second thing for me then comes down to understanding who you are. Because there's a reason why they say, what's the thing about being 40 and being a fool and wisdom? The more you learn about yourself, the more, for most people, let me not generalize, for most people, the better you get. That's why you say you get better as you age. Why? Because you start to understand who you are, what you stand for. You can't tell me now who I am. You can tell me what you've observed and I'll take it on board, but you can't tell Uti who Uti is. Uti is very clear on who she is, what's and all, good, bad, ugly, everything in between, right? So there is understanding. Excellence is a value, and then understanding who you are. What makes you you? What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? I have a boss who is known for her energy, right? If she walks into a room, hey, she's bringing the fire. I don't have that kind of energy, but she does. And that's her identity. So she's very clear on what her identity is. She's not apologetic about it. She will speak up. She will be heard. And you can see that in Millie as well. She's not sorry that she's a bad girl. If you don't like it, it's your business. Right?
Take it up with Jesus.
Yes. So if you don't like it, that's your business. So there is that knowing your identity. Because once you know your identity, then the next phase for me then is understanding your innate gifts. Because we're all born with something. There are things that we do that we find easier. We're here sitting today, we're talking on air. There are some people that rather die than be in front of a camera, in front of a mic. They struggle. And then some people, they just sit down, you say talk, and it's fire, right? So everybody has their unique skills. I think for me, when it all came together, I often look at it from a faith-based perspective. But it doesn't mean that you have to be Christian. That's just my route, right? But paying attention to the things that you find easy, the things you take for granted, the things that when you want to learn it, you don't struggle. It's different for me, it's different for you.
Absolutely.
Then there are the things you enjoy. You know, there are things that also, you know, you may not find it easy, but you enjoy it, you want to learn it, you want to immerse yourself in it. All of these things form different facets of who you are as a person. And it is paying attention, because you kind of have to ask yourself, you have to be very reflective to notice that you do something that is not easy for everybody else. You must be paying attention.
To yourself.
Yes, because you will take it for granted that you can do it. until you see somebody who is looking at you in awe. Then you stop and go, oh, wow.
I didn't know this was a big deal.
I didn't know this was a big deal. Apparently,
that happens to be a lot.
Yes, it is. Like, I just enjoy. I remember when I realized that talking was actually a gift from God for me. I used to always joke about it. How my family, we talk. I've been on the phone on one phone call before for 17 hours. Like, I did talk.
You know.
You know? But when I started to reflect on it, when I started to go back, I started to build on that. I realized that right from childhood, I learned by teaching. So I started to realize how much I not only like to talk, I liked to impart knowledge. Then I realized that I was at my happiest when I was serving people, when I was helping people be better. How did I end up in a career today of customer experience? I collect bass on the steady, but I'm still doing it because I am passionate about it. It is who I am. I like solving problems. At one point, it got me human Google because just ask me. You need somewhere to eat? Ask me. You need someone to buy something? Ask me. I have a solution for. You need mechanic? You need you just ask me. You know? But I realized that it was because I was concerned with making things better for people. So this career found me, right? It's not what I studied. But I also realized that I was always, right from my childhood, I've always been tall. So I was always tall in my class. One thing I hated even as a child was bullies. I only fought twice in school, my entire primary, secondary school. And the 2 fights were defending somebody else. I wasn't involved. I was just I hate people picking on the little guy. So today, being on Ways, again, it's about using our voices. We are not on the streets protesting, but we have something to say, and we're creating this platform. So your identity, what are you good at? What are your skills? The other superpower is knowing your weaknesses. Because that's where people come at you. The underhanded, shady people, that's where they come at you. You cannot criticize me more than me. You want to try? Let's go. You know? So those kinds of things, I think, are key things that every woman should stop and think about. I always tell people that one of the most liberating things that I learned was how to combat self-doubt. In everything, and I remember once our MD said, even men face self-doubt. But again, it's that braggadocio, right? For me, I centered on what is the one thing that I know to be true about myself. So when I'm feeling like, I'm in a room, God, what's the one thing I know to be true about myself? I ask myself that question all the time to remind myself that it's one of two things. I'm a very quick study. If I don't know it, I will learn it fast. And odds are, I'll be better than the person that taught me. And I like solving problems. If you like solving problems, it means you can pick the facts. You can find the details. The devil is always in the details. And it means that I pay attention to detail. So once you know your strengths, your weaknesses, your giftings, you now bring it all together. And the crown is intentionality. Successful women that shatter glass ceilings, they are intentional.
On that note, where is Mercy?
I'm here.
We're inside lecture 101.
I'm here.
So Mercy,
I'm
tell
telling
me.
you, I can hear everything.
I'm telling you, I'm just in, because again, it's the totality for me for the conversation, because I really want this conversation to reach someone and let the person truly take steps, you know, towards transformation, because this is the best thing that could happen to a woman. Getting to that point of self-realization where you are truly in your element. But Mercy, let me hear you. What do you think, right, women should start to intentionally do if they truly want to shatter this glass ceiling and rise to the top?
So before they can get to the point where Uti has talked about herself right now, she cited an example, and that's very, awesome for any individual, especially a woman, to be in. Is a very great position to be in. Is that women need to begin to break free from the religious and cultural bias or limitation that has been set, societal standards and all of that. So I will cite an example. And I think that's one thing that a lot of women are struggling with. So, for instance, growing up, I feel like the orientation that a lot of women had was go to school, When you graduate from your nursery school, you get to your secondary school, and the next thing is to get married. Literally, they just say, oh, when you have to finish school before you get married, and as soon as you're done, the next thing everybody's asking you is when you're getting married. For, clarity, I have no problems. I mean, I have no bias or any issue with getting married, but it looks as though that, we have been wired and trained to say that's all we can become. Do you understand? Now, if you look at a lot of, if you see what's going on in a lot of homes and a lot of marriages, and if you see what's going on right now, the experiences that some women are going through, some women have found themselves in marriages where they are lost. They don't. There's nothing else to them aside the fact that they are married and then they are raising kids. And I don't think that that's exactly what it should be for every human being. Everyone is, blessed or talented. There's something that me growing up. I remember when I was growing up, I used to say I wanted to become what again? I said I wanted to become an independent woman. I didn't really know what that meant. But that's on the one side. And then I wanted to become a lawyer. So I'm sure that every little girl, when they're growing up, women need to begin to break free from all of the biases and the stereotypes that have, kept them limited and bound, because these stereotypes and biases are not allowing them to break free to become who they are. So that's why you find out that, for instance, making your own money, everybody just thinks that, oh, get married and then look for a man that is rich. What stops you from getting your own money? It's a plus if you have somebody who gives you money. We're not saying there's anything wrong with that. We're just saying that that's how you see our young women and ladies, tilted towards this particular area. So there's literally nothing. So it therefore looks as though we have been programmed, raised to just, all we do is just get married and that's it. Oh, so when you finish your hair, when you're done, you have to get married. So where's the husband? And that's all. When you get married, when are we having kids? And that's all. So what are the dreams? That little girl, what were you dreaming to become? What exactly? Are women not supposed to be more? So I know that, for the society that we find ourselves in, Nigeria, Africa as a continent, there might just be religious biases, especially in some parts of the country, and also cultural beliefs. And, by default, there's a way women have been, built to be. And I'm saying that for women to become what they have to become, we need to break free from all of this limitation, first of all, before Absolutely. You can now, continue. That's my thoughts exactly. That's what I think.
I'm talking about growing up, right? I remember very young, I think I was still in primary school, so my mom had a policy that if we wanted to bring anybody into the home, the person had to be clean, so you don't put dirty. She doesn't like all these dirty, so, we play a lot in the sand and all of that. So her rule was make sure you clean up before you come into the house so that you maintain the house to be clean. And I remember that, they had bought us that blackboard and chalk, and all of that. I've always been fascinated about meeting people and leaving them better off than I met them.
Yep.
Right. So when I was younger, as a child, I would come back from primary school rather. I realized that they were not, my neighbors were not going to school. So I would come back in the bid to want to make sure that when we are having a conversation, they could understand me. So everything I had learned in school, all the ABCDs and all of that, we will start to write it on the board, we'll start to teach them and all of that. By the time we did that for a bit, the next thing I noticed, right, the parents started enrolling them in school, right? By the time we left that neighborhood, most of them had gone to primary school, they had finished. So it then dawned on me how much, when you talked about what gives you joy,
yeah.
I actually like to see people and see the transformation that happens in their life. So fast forward to how many years down the line, right? My focal, anchor, right? Usually is around personal transformation, life transformation, and all of that. That's why even Upgrade TV is a lifestyle transformational channel, because that's the essence. We're not just having conversations because we feel like having conversations. We're having conversations because we intend to touch the life of the person that is watching behind the screen, to change the lives of those people, make them, because if you change the thinking, the perspective of anything, right, you're able to then kind of like shift. When you shift the mind, you're able to shift their lives as well. So I think that's what Millie Odiabo was doing, because if nobody say the woman, because if you look at it, she's trying to help the young girls realize that, come,
So,
you know?
so I like that you made that point.
Yeah.
And Mercy, first of all, is spot on.
Spot on.
Because there is a very old video of Diana Ross's daughter, Tracy Ellis Ross. So I just want to say this, it's not even an African problem when this marriage thing. She talked about it, the curse of marriage and carriage, right? That it doesn't matter what you've achieved as a woman. You're not married, you're not had kids, you are not a woman. And I was saying, I had given the story of my experience one day of being in the salon where the two ladies doing hair side by side, they were arguing about how Oprah has not been impactful. She's not complete because she don't have children. I'm like, Oprah. Do you know how many people she has transformed their lives? Do you know how many people she's reached? Do you know what she has achieved? And you've boiled all of that down to whether she gave birth to a child. I thought it was sad, right? Today, women are changing lives. And you just talked about even what you did as a very young person. One very important thing for me that we have to be committed to be able to shatter this glass ceiling and help women rise to the top, is when you get there, see from that top, reach back down and start picking women one by one. Because the young girls of today, there is an extreme. We've gone from, I'm only dependent on a man, I'm not validated unless I'm married, to the extreme of I make my money, I don't care.
Anyhow.
It's almost become like the reverse bondage, right? And the middle is very sweet, it's very happy. What I am hoping for is that more women get to a point where they decide for themselves what they want for themselves, right?
But quickly, I wanted to touch on something because they always say that women that are soft, emotional, and all of those things, that they don't climb. Like if you go and check, because I mean, mentioning Oprah, there's one woman that has a fast food chain of restaurants. You know, I heard her story. She told me, you have to be brutal. You have to be bullish. If not, people will mess you up, you know, especially because you're a woman. There's that extra toughness that is required for you to be that boss lady. Is that a true summation? Mercy, do you agree? Then I'll come back to Uti. Is Mercy there? Okay, Uti, go ahead.
Yes, I'm here. I'm here.
Did you hear my question? Did you hear the question I asked?
Yeah, so the truth is, I had the question you asked about, you know, the kind of personality for you to succeed. I follow Oprah's story. The thing is, a lot of people sometimes, we tend to look at the end, you know, we look at the end product. But if you look at Oprah's story, Oprah came from a very, very disadvantaged background. Oprah came from a very sad story. So the Oprah you're seeing today was not just made, you know, out of gold. She came from a place where her parents were literally made. They were helped. In short, as a matter of fact, from the way she was raised, she thought that that's the only thing that she can becoming a slave and a servant, you know, serving orders. Until, you know, she was determined to say, you know, there's more that I can become. There was even a time where Oprah was on a channel, you know, a television channel, where, you know, she was yanked off the show because, you know, they felt like she wasn't qualified. So I don't really agree, you know, with that notion that, you know, you have to be really tough and all of that.
Yeah.
Honestly, the people that you see today, yes, it's true, because she came from, I think that her experiences and everything over time has made her. And so for you to succeed as a woman, it is not literally you know, having a certain personality that you have to be mean and tough and all of that. No, I think that on the way, the experiences, her, you know, experiences all through her life has shaped her and has made her who she is. So if you see people who are in a certain way, it is not necessarily because they want to be that way. They are successful because
they don't see Pepe. Okay, it's all right.
They don't see a hair. They don't shape them.
Let me frame it as two characteristics. You must be dogged and you must be strong. It's not about being loud. You see people that you can't move them, but they don't shout. I also had a boss. She can be here telling you off, and you there, won't hear. My mother was also like that. My mother never bit me. She never raised her voice. But you try my mother. You try anyhow, you see anyhow. So there is quiet strength. Everybody's style is different. But you see those two things. You must be dogged and you must be strong. Nobody can push you aside. Even if you are quiet, you will stand your ground and you will make your point.
Okay. Dogged and quiet.
Dogged and strong.
Dogged and strong. Okay. Dogged and strong. I will look out for that because I think that, women really must, at some point, there are some things you must separate emotions from and just, that's the word, be dogged. But thank you so much, saying this internet that did not let us to hear you. I see your face.
Traffic first.
Traffic first. Chivido. How many times did I call you?
It's not Chivido, but there's rain. There is.
But quickly. What do you people think about Chivido in 1 minute?
I can't even imagine you're saying that.
Oh, talk now. We have 1 minute. What do you think about Chivido?
Oh, it is beautiful. I mean, she looks so. She looks so peaceful.
Yeah.
And Davido looks like a child. He's so happy.
He's so in love.
Like children.
I'm telling you.
Yeah, you can see all of that. I'm so happy for them.
Can you see my face right now?
It's really. I mean, it's so beautiful. Like I've been smiling sheepishly.
I only found out this morning
that they were getting
married. And my first reaction was like, she marrying him still? Yeah.
But that's what it is. You remember me saying that they look like children? I mean, you need to see how Davido.
We need to go.
That means one line. She's marrying him.
Still?
Question mark.
That's still where you put. Don't cancel everything. Thank you, ladies. All right, before we go, remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, that Official Upgrade TV. You can interact with us further, drop a comment. Most importantly, follow all our engagements on social media, like, share, and invite your families and friends to watch and follow the conversation. Now, if you missed our quote for today, here it is again. Life is about finding yourself, embracing your strength and weaknesses, and being true to who you are. I think those were part of the things that yes, Uti had mentioned. We'll see you guys tomorrow at 8 p.m. as we bring another great conversation to your screen.